a little higher. Driftwood. Definitely not stable. There. Is that high enough? My head cut off still? Whew. I have to sit like this. Hello and good afternoon. I am Ash from Winging It with Ash. Welcome to my channel. Today I have some extremely exciting news, some news that I think a lot of you have been waiting for, some news I've been waiting for. I am finally traveling to the UK. I have tried to travel to the UK more than once this year and it has not worked out, unfortunately, but this time it's definitely gonna work out, and travel has changed. Let me tell you, it is not the same. So this video is all about my journey, and the videos to come are all about my journey. Things are changing constantly. It's not the same from one day to the next. So my journey and how I get to the United Kingdom is going to be different from yours. From the time that I filmed this video until the time you see this video, things could have changed. So please do not take this video as how you should get to the UK and go step by step by that. You need to do your own research and figure it out, because it is crazy how quickly things are changing, how rules and regulations are changing for travel. From one day to the next, it could be different. So disclaimer, please do not take this as the way that you should travel to the UK, but currently this is how I am able to travel to the UK. I thought that the best place for me to film this video was to come to the beach where it's calm and beautiful, because my experience of trying to get to the UK has not been that. It's been the complete opposite of that. I've had to do so much research. It's been such a headache, and they are currently not making it very easy due to the situation, which is understandable. The pandemic has made it much more difficult to travel, and specifically to the UK, it has not been an easy process to get to this point where I'm able to travel there. The whole time wanting to travel there, the reasons for traveling there have not been, and the reasons for these videos have not been to encourage people to travel there. I'm not encouraging you to go to the UK during a pandemic, or anyone. I just want to show how I'm getting there because I want to go. And there are some people who are ready to start traveling now. So I want to be able to provide the information that I've researched and tried so hard to understand the process of how to do it properly. I will be making sure that I do all of the guidelines that I'm supposed to get there. It is so much more difficult. I feel like, what, a year and a half ago, all I had to do was board a plane, get to the UK, and I'd automatically have a 6-month visa from the US. Currently that is not the case. There's so much more paperwork, so much more to do before traveling to the UK, and I think that in a way I took it for granted how easy it was to get there before, how easy it was to stay in the country, and it is, as an American, much more difficult at this time. Yeah, I'm excited to go. It is completely worth all of the trouble to get there. I am so excited. I think that to keep people safe in this pandemic, it is way better for a country to do their due diligence to ensure that the people living in the country are safe, as well as the people who are traveling to the country are safe. So let's get to what I need to travel to the UK. My best advice, whether you're traveling to Ireland, England, Scotland, or Wales, is to go to uk.gov, the government website, to find out what the rules and regulations are. Over time, since I've been looking into going to the UK, it has changed. It was not very specific at the beginning. It was so difficult to decipher what you actually needed to get there, but now there are very specific rules and regulations for each country. Now, I want to be very clear that if you are going to Wales, rules and regulations can be very different from England. It depends on what country you plan on going to and what country you're coming from. The UK has a light system. If you're coming from certain countries that the UK does not require you to do any quarantining once you arrive, then it's called a green light country. There are other countries that are on the amber list where I I am coming from, the US is on the amber list, and you do have to quarantine for 10 days. Now there are some different, like there are some ways to get around that, and I'll go over that in a sec. And then there are red list countries. These red listed countries, they require you to quarantine in a hotel. You need to book that ahead of time before going into the UK. Now this is what countries you've been in the last 10 days. So say you've been to a red list country in the last 10 days, then you will have to quarantine. If you've been to a amber list country, then you still also will have to quarantine. If you've been to the green light countries and that's it, then you don't have to quarantine. Amazing. But there aren't very many on the list right now, so, and I am not coming from one of those, unfortunately. So be sure to know where you've been in the last 10 days and what list that country is on. First things first, when flying to the UK, I need to buy a plane ticket. And currently there are not a lot of people traveling to the UK because anyone and everyone from the US, traveling from the US, needs to quarantine for 10 days. Now for me, I'm quarantining with my boyfriend for 10 days. Awesome! But if you are going there and you are going to be with family, maybe you don't get along with them, 10 days is a really long time. I really feel like if you don't go crazy being quarantined in 10 days, then you really must be an introvert, because 10 days just seems like a really long time to be stuck in a place. But I am excited to be quarantining with my boyfriend. Not everybody is willing to spend 10 days quarantined in a small house or a room with certain people. So at the moment, it may not be best for everyone to travel to the UK. I have booked specifically through Virgin Atlantic. I would suggest booking direct with the airline. Right now, there are a lot of flight cancellations. I currently can fly direct from Seattle to London, but those flights are being canceled all the time because there are not enough people for it to make sense for the airline to have those flights continue going. So they have been canceled all the time. So another option would be to fly from LA, or no, well, there are a lot of options. Just flying from a bigger airport would be a better option. So my thought was to avoid having my flight canceled. I could book a flight from Seattle to New York, which is a very common flight, and then from New York to London, which also, I'm gonna be more guaranteed that a lot of people are going to be on those flights and my flight will likely not be canceled. Whereas if I book direct from Seattle to London, that flight is likely to be canceled at the moment. So that's what I've chosen to do. I'm going to have a layover. It's not so bad, but it kind of secures when I'm going to be there, how long, like, I just know that my flight isn't going to be canceled, and I wasn't willing to take that chance, so I'm going to have a layover. It's totally fine. That was the plan. But also, if there are any cancellations, it's best to book directly through the airline, because then you're not going through a third party when there are cancellations. And a lot of the airlines, specifically Virgin Atlantic, I know has very good rebooking right now due to COVID. And so be sure that the airline that you are booking with has really good, I don't know, rules due to cancellations, because yeah, it's just currently higher, the likelihood of cancellations or of flights being changed is higher than it ever has been before that I've ever experienced. Next thing is to get a negative COVID test 48 hours before my flight. In the US, this is super tricky because what I'm finding is a lot of places cannot guarantee you the results back in time for the flight. So I am going to take multiple tests. It's the only option, it's the only way that I can not guarantee, but get closer to, like, make sure that I get that test back in time for my flight. Not all companies will get it back to you within 48 hours. Some of them are 72 hours. So be sure to look at that, as well as when you're flying internationally, you have to take specific tests. I need a PCR test. I need to get a PCR test back to be able to fly. Rapid tests will not work with international flights to the UK, and so be sure to plan ahead of time. Book your COVID test ahead of time, know what company you're going with. I'll be taking 3 tests because I want to ensure that I get my test back in time for my flight. It is really stressful not knowing if you're gonna get your test back. Like, That is such a stressful thing because you can pay companies to get them back within 24 hours, but still, in the US, you can get tests for free, but there's no guarantee that you're gonna get them back in time for an international flight, which just adds a whole nother tricky aspect to flying international right now. Continuing on with COVID tests, there are some rules and regulations. When you arrive in country, specifically in Wales, I need to be sure ahead of time to book 2 other COVID tests that I take at home during my quarantine. I will need to be quarantining for 10 whole days, and on day 2 and on day 8, I'll have to take at-home COVID tests and then mail them to the company, and then the company will register me and make sure that I get negative test results. If I don't, then I need to quarantine for a longer period of time. And specifically Wales, they have a company that the Welsh government has signed a contract with that they will be doing all the COVID tests with, whereas other countries like England have so many different providers that provide these COVID take-home tests or mailed-in tests, or you can go into the clinic to take the test to make sure that you get a negative COVID test. Now, Wales does not have any get released sooner scheme, whereas England does. If you take a COVID test sooner and you sign up before even going to the country, you are able to get out of quarantine sooner if you take a test and it comes back negative. You just need to be sure to do that ahead of time. Wales and Scotland and Ireland that I know of do not have this option. It is only if you're quarantining in England and staying in England. And lastly, if you are traveling to the UK, you will need to fill out a passenger locator form. This is done by the government. You fill it out online, and it needs to be done within 48 hours of you arriving into the country. This form, you will need a passport. You will need to provide the information of where you're staying while you're there, how long you're staying, when you're leaving, the name of the person you're staying with, a phone number, because they potentially will call you to ensure that you are following all the rules and making sure that you have negative COVID test results. They are doing their due diligence to make sure that everyone is safe and following the regulations and rules. It's very simple, very easy to fill out. It's something that you need to or should print out before you leave for the airport. I would suggest to have it on hand because they at any time could ask you to provide that information. You also be sure to print out or have on hand your negative COVID test results because they will be asking for those when you get to the airport and before you check in for your flight. And if you thought those were all the COVID tests you would need, that is not it at all. I need to book one other COVID test that I need to take up to 48 hours before my flight on return to the US. I need to guarantee that I am negative and provide that to my airline before flying back into the United States, and then also provide that information when I am in the United States. So COVID tests galore. It is to ensure that everyone is safe and well, and I don't mind doing it. I don't mind being able to ensure that I am healthy, and I'm so thankful that I am assured that the people around me who are traveling with me are also healthy. So it is worth doing all of these tests. I do want to say that it is expensive. The tests cost between $250 at probably the high end to get a 24-hour test, to $150, $175 for the 2 tests that you need on the 2nd day and the 5th day. It kind of comes as a package. When you're flying to Wales, it is set what the price is, but when you're flying to England, because they have so many providers that provide these tests, you can kind of shop around and find one that has a better pricing for you. They are all different, so be sure to look around and see which one, but make sure that it is a government approved provider for the COVID tests. And that's it. Once all those things are done, I am headed to the UK. I'm going to go there and enjoy myself. I'm going to quarantine just like I'm supposed to. I'm going to be there for about 16 days and I'm going to share my experience of flying to the UK with you guys in the next videos. But I wanted to be sure to start this out with just showing you that it is definitely different. It is not easy to get there, but yeah, that it is possible that you can travel to the UK right now if you are dying to see family, meet a boyfriend, or see the UK. You will just need to know what is expected of you and follow all of the rules and regulations. Things will change though. People are getting vaccinations, rules are changing because of the vaccinations, so the potential of there being less of a quarantine or no quarantine at all is there. So keep your eye on that. Things will constantly change. Have a great day. I'm so excited to be traveling again and sharing all of this with you guys. I love doing informational videos, although this is a hard one for me because I know that things are going to change all the time, but I thought it would just be really nice to be able to share with you guys what I am going through, how I'm making this happen, and making sure that I am being safe and keeping those around me safe. So all the best. I cannot wait to share these UK adventures with you, and I will talk to you in the next video. Next week, actually. I've been gone for a little while. I took the summer and I've just enjoyed time with family, but I'm back, people. I have so many videos, so many experiences, fun things that I've been doing that I cannot wait to share with you. So have a great day. Bye.